Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel. Okay, so today we have February TBR reading plans. Let's take a look real quick since I got my little journal right here. Let's see how I did for January. I feel like I probably didn't do very good. Okay, let's see. I read 1, 2, 3. I read 3. This is my list. Kind of a lot. So I read 3, DNF'd 3. So, I mean, I tried. All right. Anyway, February TBR. Okay, so I have a couple of read-alongs we're going to talk about first. The first one is one I'm super excited about because this is a favorite author of mine. This series remains in probably my top, at least my top 10. My top 10 books of all time, this series. I'm combining them in that list. And it is The Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom duology by Leigh Bardugo. Me and a bunch of other ladies are doing a read-along book club. It's going to be hosted on McKay's channel. So I know for sure there's me, McKay, Christy, I believe Christy, Carrie, Rachel. I'm sorry if I've forgotten people. I'll have everybody linked down below. But we're going to be reading both of those. And the live show will be 6 PM EST on McKay's channel on February 26th. So read them with us and come talk about it because it's going to be a good time. I feel like this series specifically, even though it's technically YA, I think it holds a lot of crossover appeal to adult readers. I just think this is such a fantastic series, and if you don't like it, then I guess we can't be friends. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, and then the other read-along is the last 3 books for Vampire Academy that we are reading with Sam Reads a Little. Zay is going to be their witty reads. Caitlin, Jess from Honest Fiction, and Jesson from Jesson Reads Romance. And I'm not entirely sure who else might be there. But we're going to be doing the last 3 books, which are my favorite. We're going to read book 4 soon. We just had our live show for books 1, 2, and 3 last night on Sam's channel, and it was a good time. So if you loved Vampire Academy and you want to reread them or you want to read them for the first time, please come join us because, I mean, you know, we're halfway into the series, but this is when it starts to get really good, you guys. Okay, so now, on to just the books that I want to read, that I want to prioritize. Now, probably the first one I want to mention is Powerless by Elsie Silver. This comes out in February, I believe February 10th. I did get an arc of it, and so I have technically already started it, but I'm not going to finish it until February. So that one is contemporary romance in her new series. Super hyped about it. I think it's friends to lovers, and I think it's a fake... Is it fake dating or fake marriage? I don't know. Truthfully, I don't know a whole lot about that book because I just want to go in blind and I have a feeling I'm going to love it. So, alright, now I have a few fantasy books on here that I want to read. One of them is Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. I did back his Kickstarter for the audio and ebooks, and I started the audio with my husband when we were traveling. And it was very charming, it was very fun, it was a bit quirky and silly, but I like that blend of Brandon's humor. I think it's very fun, so I hope to finish that. We'll see. Another book that I'm actually reading right now, I'm filming this on the last day of January, is Mother of Death and Dawn, which is the last book in the War of Lost Hearts series by Carissa Broadbent. And I'm obsessed with this series. I think that I'm going to do a series review for this series, so be on the lookout for that. And then another fantasy book that I want to read is I want to continue with my Seven Waters reading by Juliette Marillier. So the book I'm on right now is book number 3, which is Child of the Prophecy. So I do plan to for sure get to that in March. And another book that was on my January TBR that I did not get to is Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. So February apparently is the month of Leigh Bardugo, but I am so excited about this, and I think that because I'm so excited, I have kind of been a little nervous about picking it up and hesitant, so, but I want to get to it before I get overly spoiled for it, because I have seen some things going around about it. Okay, so now this next one, moving back into romance, the rest of these are romance, so Coming Home is an Audible exclusive by Kennedy Ryan. I am very excited about this. This again is sort of like, from the synopsis, it sounds like they loved each other and then they were split to work on careers and go to college and things like that, and then they are kind of forced into a situation to be back together. I got this sitting and waiting in my Audible library because if you have an Audible membership, you can add it to your library already, and then when it drops, I think February 10th too, I don't know, February, when it drops, you'll have access to it right away. So I am so excited for that. It has her two, my favorite narrators that she has, Jacoby Diem and Wesley Siobhan, which is going to be so good. I'm so hyped about that one. Okay, so now moving on to books that are part of my Read 12, or 12 Friends Recommend 12 Books to Me. So actually both of these books came in, my library hold came in for both of these, so I'm going to combine two of them in 1 month. And they are Legends and Lattes, which is the extremely popular cozy fantasy, which sounds like it's based on sort of like a D&D character. She's an orc, she wants to give up battle, and she has just discovered coffee, and so she starts this cafe to sell coffee to all these people in this world that don't know what coffee is, but sounds cozy, delightful, and I believe it's sapphic. Then the other book that I have for that challenge is Waking Up with the Duke by Lorraine Heath. So Waking Up with the Duke is by Lorraine Heath, and this one is an interesting setup, and I'm really curious to know how I feel about it, because it's basically that she is married, but she can't have a child with the man that she's married to, so he's like, best friend, can you come and provide your stallion services to my wife so she can become pregnant? And I'm just like, I don't know how this is going to work out, but I'm intrigued, you know? So, interested. I love Lorraine Heath. I truly do. I don't even care about her bonkers plots. I think she's fantastic. So I do think I'm going to like that a lot, but I am very, very curious about it. Okay, another book that I want to read is A Captain for Caroline Gray. This one sounds interesting because it's all set at sea. The heroine is basically a spinster. She's convinced she's never going to marry, so her parents decide it's time to send her to India, where there is like a bunch of Englishmen who are less desirable matches, so that hopefully one of them will like her and want to marry her. And of course, while she's sailing, she falls in love with the captain. So I think that just sounds really interesting. I believe this is a closed door romance, but I'm not 100% certain, but I like the concept, and I really haven't read very many historicals where they're set at sea on a ship that isn't a pirate, so I think it sounds good. So now this next one is one that I have had like sitting on my dining room table because I just want to pick it up and read it all the time. I'm sure my family loves that. And it's Black Silk. So this is a historical romance, a bodice ripper, where the hero is the villainous character, where he assaults the heroine. I'm very curious about this. I really have been kind of diving into this area of romances that are from this typical bodice ripper era, and how they may appeal to modern readers, and how that sort of contrasts with dark romance. I just find that fascinating. So this is mostly like a bit of an academic exercise where I'm just kind of really curious about why the story was told, how it's going to affect me, and what my opinion is of it. We shall see. Okay, so now this next one is Speak of the Duke. So this is an author that I want to try, a new historical romance author, and this one sounds interesting because it sounds like they both met and they shared a kiss and they had a lot of feelings for each other, but she wasn't a suitable match for him. He marries someone else, then he becomes a widower, and then he's going to try and win her over. Now, typically that type of setup doesn't appeal to me because I want my man to buck conventions in my fiction and go for the woman he loves, not the safe option for the title, obviously. But again, I really want to try this author. We're gonna go for it. We're gonna see. I picked this up on Kindle at some point because it was like super cheap. Hopefully I won't regret it. Okay, now this one is The Design of Dukes. So this is basically an enemies to lovers type of historical, and this is another author that I really want to try. And I think the cover is beautiful. A few of you told me that you did or read this series because of my authors that I wanted to prioritize video. And Jessin read the first book in this series, and she kind of liked it okay. And I'm really curious how I'm going to feel about it, so I'm just jumping ahead to this one. That's what I'm doing. Okay, so now this next book has been recommended by Caitlin from The Love Librarian and Tiffany from Tiff Talks Pages, and it is Behind the Scenes by Christina C. Jones. This is another author that I definitely wanted to prioritize. This book specifically was on that video I mentioned about authors I wanted to prioritize this year, and I just think the cover is absolutely stunning, and I'm very, very excited about it. Okay, this next book is Safe With Me by Stephanie Nicole Norris. This is the first book in another of her series, contemporary romance series, and this book sounds so freaking good. It sounds like both of the people in this relationship, the woman and the man, both have like issues where they've been burned, they've had their hearts broken, and they are having trust issues. And I always love a good trust issue romance. I love seeing the other person sort of unravel and gain the trust of the other person. I just love it so much. It's one of those things that I never really mentioned that I love, but I deeply, deeply love it. And this book, the hero specifically, I think he's like a champion boxer. So he's like famous, rich, and he's used to women sort of throwing themselves at him because of his money and how famous he is. And he's been burned because of it. But when he meets the heroine, he just like instantly has feelings for her, chemistry sparks, and he sort of battles with if he's going to let himself fall in love with her. I don't know, it just sounds really, really good. I really like this author's writing. To me, she feels very cozy and comforting, and I just like how swoony her romances are, so I'm excited about that one. And then the last book on my list is The Co-op by Tara DeWitt. So I definitely want to read more of this author's books after reading Funny Feelings. And I am very curious about this because this sounds like it's an enemies to lovers and there's a fake marriage involved. So I think it's, I mean, the fake relationship part is similar to Funny Feelings, but the enemies part is much different. And I'm really curious about how this author will write an enemies to lovers situation, because I think she did friends to lovers really well in Funny Feelings. So, okay, that's all. Those are all the books that I want to read for February. If you have made it this far in this video and you want to let me know you were here, please leave me any color of heart, because Valentine's Day. And I'll see y'all in my next video.